Okay, I've lived in Seattle for 30 years, in the Sacramento Valley for 30 years, and in Bellevue for the past 15 years. I have a BA in biology education from the UW. One of the reasons I became interested in the Energize Eastside project is because some of my work experience has been related to energy. I worked for the Washington State Department of Environmental Education as an assistant director of a continuing education program for teachers. One course explored all of the energy resources required to get food on our tables. And we also helped teachers incorporate energy concepts into their existing curriculum. I later worked in the California Governor's Office as director of a 3-year program that assisted school districts to implement energy education and energy management programs. Our advisory board included representatives from PG&E, SMUD, SoCal Edison, and San Diego Gas and Electric, as well as representatives from professional associations for school board members, administrators, and business managers, and 2 staff members from the State Department of Education. This program was successful in helping schools decrease their energy use because both the utilities and state government shared that as a common goal. The other reason Energy Eastside captured my attention is because of its co-location with the Olympic pipeline. When I first heard about the project, it reminded me of conversations I had with my father after the Bellingham pipeline explosion in 1999. He had recently retired as the assistant fire chief for the Seattle Fire Department, where he had coordinated the city's disaster preparedness plan. We discussed the expert witness report he was preparing to present to the UTC. It recommended the installation of stop and check valves in the pipeline to improve pipeline safety, and these have been installed, and you can see them throughout the whole pipeline area. So by being part of a group who opposes Energize Eastside, I am doing my part to continue a family legacy of advocating for pipeline safety. But what I'm going to talk about is Exhibit C5, which describes PSC's public relations campaign for Energize Eastside. PSE is a business who claims the public needs a product it wants to sell. PSE says the growing East Side population needs more transmission capacity to meet peak demands for electricity now and in the future. PSE is selling souped up transmission lines to replace the existing ones because they haven't been updated since the 1960s. As you have heard from our attorney, PSE chose to permit this multi-jurisdictional project by submitting applications to 4 cities rather than submitting one application to a state agency that provides a one-stop siting process for major energy projects. That may explain why PSE launched a massive public relations campaign in December 2013. The campaign was managed by Mark Williamson, partner and chairman of the PRW Communications, a Wisconsin-based PR firm. And I want to share the screen. Okay. This is a page from PRW's website noting that the firm will manage your controversial project as a political campaign and not as an engineering problem. It also describes Mark Williamson as nationally renowned for his record of success for getting controversial projects done. And using Williamson's mantra, I elect transmission lines, power plants, and pipelines to public office, PSE adopted political campaign techniques to sell Energize Eastside. PSE developed PSE's major public relation talking points about the need for the project. These talking points are captured in PSE's print and digital ads, which I will show soon. And these appeared in the Bellevue Reporter and the Seattle Times from 2015 to the present. I'm showing these ads because they use the same talking points that were used by PSE in presentations to the Newcastle City Council and Land Use Commission beginning in 2015. Mark Williamson also met with individual council members and the land use commissioner to sell the need for the project. Exhibit C36 contains emails between PSC and the city that document not only these meetings, but many communications between PSC and the city of Newcastle. Screen sharing again. Okay, some of the ads, the talking points capitalize on the superficial understanding most people have about how the electrical grid works and what causes power outages. And I don't think I got the, hang on here, I want to scoot down. Okay. The ads paint a dystopian future filled with rolling blackouts and unreliable electricity unless Energize Eastside is built. Some of the ads contain popular misconceptions about what causes electrical demand to grow. For example, this ad and the one following it show or imply that energy demand is driven mainly by population growth. And I'm not going to read them to you. What I've done is taken this caption and enlarged it and highlighted what I want you to look at just to make it easier to read. Okay. And this ad, again, is talking about the eightfold growth in population since the 1960s. So, but the graph here tells a different story. It illustrates the common misconception that as the population grows, so does peak demand. Since 2009, the number of customers in PSE's service area has increased by 12%, yet winter peak demand has gradually decreased. Summer peak demand appears to be increasing at about 0.4%, but that's a much smaller rate of growth than the 2.4% per year assumed by the 2015 Quanta study. Therefore, in the future, need for additional transmission capacity may be much smaller than PSE anticipated, and the need for a large project such as Energize Eastside unnecessary. The point is that as the graph indicates, population is not the cause of increased electrical demand. Some ads tell part of a story. Here's a partial story about conservation. Conservation alone can't keep up with the Eastside's energy needs. And here's another about conservation. Our population has grown eightfold, and now demand for electricity is growing far faster than even our most aggressive energy conservation efforts. Okay, these ads claim that conservation alone cannot meet future electrical demand. They are misleading because they tell only part of the story. Conservation strategies are not limited to being used in isolation. Many utilities manage demand by using conservation strategies in conjunction with other non-wire solutions to provide reliable electricity. PSC submits an integrated resource plan to the UTC biannually that describes how other non-wired solutions such as demand response, distributed energy resources, and storage used with conservation can reduce the need for higher voltage transmission lines. Okay, another screen share. Some ads use words that have one meaning in common parlance and a more technical meaning when talking about electricity. Reliability is one of them. Okay. I don't know if we got that one on. Okay, to customers, reliable electricity means that PSC will keep the lights on most of the time. What most customers don't realize, and what PSC does not make clear, is that Energize Eastside is not designed to reduce the frequency or duration of outages caused by storms or the most common causes of power outages, such as the ones documented in PSE's annual electrical reliability report for the city of Bellevue, which include equipment failures on distribution line equipment, scheduled outages, trees falling on lines, and animals tripping a circuit. None of these outages are caused by transmission deficiency. To date, no power outages on the east side have been caused by a transmission deficiency, also referred to as demand exceeding capacity. Our expert witnesses will address forecasted demand and its implications for a large project like Energize Eastside. Okay. The ads claiming that Energize Eastside is needed to keep the light shining could easily be misinterpreted by the average customer. From the information in the ads, most people would assume that Energize Eastside would prevent most kinds of power outages, including those that seem to happen for absolutely no reason at all in the middle of a perfectly calm, moderate day. However, if the project is built, customers would soon discover that what they thought they were buying isn't what was being sold. Finally, many professionals within the electrical industry would not refer to poles and wires as modern infrastructure. Mr. Hearing Examiner, on Tuesday, Ms. Anderson warned that you would be urged to reject this application on the basis of others' preferred solutions. That is not true. We know that preferred solutions is not a basis on which a rejection can be made, but that does not preclude us from sharing with you what other utilities are doing to manage peak demand and avoid transmission deficiencies. Some of our expert witnesses will address these alternatives, and Exhibit C10 provides a literature review of these technologies and articles that describe reasons for the cancellation of transmission line projects in Washington State, Sacramento, and Rhode Island. In conclusion, PSE hired a firm to manage its controversial project as a political campaign and not an engineering problem. That PR campaign uses lots of words to promise a future filled with shining lights if Energize Eastside is built. But Energize Eastside is a very complicated engineering project designed to solve an engineering problem that PSC describes as a transmission deficiency. Numbers, not words, are needed to evaluate forecasts that indicate transmission deficiencies. These numbers are needed to justify an operational need for the project. Mr. Hearing Examiner, we are urging you to reject this application on the basis that PSE has not met the burden of proof that there is an operational need for the project. Thank you for listening to my testimony.
Thank you very much.